Rightfully put, Victor, it's going to be quite the focus on Parliament this afternoon, where members of Parliament are expected to, receive the report from the National Finance and Planning Committee. Remember, they had retreated to do a report. What we have already gathered is that there are some changes that have been effected, including the dropping of the 2.5 motor vehicle tax that had been proposed in the Finance Bill of 2024. Another change that we are likely to see effected as per the recommendations of that report is also the doing away of financial transactional fees that were proposed to be imposed in the draft finance bill of 2024-2025. And questions are abound. This particular finance bill, 2024-2025, is what is going to inform how government intends to raise funds to cater for the proposed budget at 3.9 trillion shillings. It was presented last week on Thursday there by Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, who is the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary there, now leaving a deficit of around 597 billion shillings, with the rest being raised as ordinary revenue, as well as appropriations of aid at 3.3 trillion shillings. With the Kenya Revenue Authority having, a history of not missing its targets, the government finds itself in between a rock and a hard place to try and support development at a time when Kenyans are calling for better policies to reduce the high cost of living. So, all eyes on Parliament today. Parliamentary group meetings have been lined up, and other than discussing matters of the finance bill, you can bet matters politics are going to take center stage in those particular meetings. Well, we have the opposition there that has also called its parliamentary group meeting there. We have seen them oppose the proposed Finance Bill 2024-2025, but it is still unclear which direction those parliamentarians who are allied to ODM, rather the opposition, which stand they're going to take with the changes that have been effected or rather proposed in the report there by the National Finance and Planning Committee. We are also likely to hear what the president has to say to his members, so to speak, given there's been a push and pull and somewhat a divide within the Kenya Kwanza faction. Victor will be giving us details of that as we look at matters politics. So that is just in a nutshell where we are as a country, and the main focus today is matters of finance. So we'll be keeping tabs on that, and that's the reason why we welcome your feedback. You can get us on our various socials, including X at KBC Channel 1. Be part of the conversation. And talking about being part of the conversation is that a section of Kenyans have taken to social media to call on their legislators to listen to their voices in regards to the Finance Bill 2024. Now, using various hashtags, the self-proclaimed keyboard warriors claim that if the bill is passed, it will make life harder for the struggling majority.
But Regina, allow me to cut you short and ask you a simple question, perhaps in 30 seconds. So what happens if the bill doesn't go through?
Well, there is no situation, and this is just reality, there is no situation in which the bill will not sail through. And this is my reasoning.
But in most unlikely scenario.
In the most unlikely scenario that it does not pass, well, it may not pass with the current state, but it will pass with amendments. Because without the Finance Bill 2024-2025, then there's no policy, there's no guideline on how government intends to raise the requisite funds to support activities of the government in the next financial year that lapses in more or less than 14 days, given that we're already on the 18th. Yes. So this one, we are already dealing with the Finance Bill 2023-2024. That is what is governing us right now, including how the spending has been. So after July, we have to have a different dispensation. And also this has been a point of debate, Victor, with a majority of those who are opposed to the proposals there in the Finance Bill of 2024-2025, is that among the tax measures that have been proposed, it's barely 2 years in. We had the current finance bill. The draft finance bill is introducing, various tax measures that are either differing from what we've just had in the previous year. So there's a lot of uncertainty from investors, local and international alike. Kenya does not have, a predictable tax policy, and that affects business in itself. So that issue, it cannot not pass. And in the event it doesn't pass, you can bet there's going to be amendments, debates and amendments. Like today, the report is going to be received in Parliament for the second reading, right? Paving way for debate. But for this particular proposals that have been put across to the finance bill, remember we went through public participation, for them to hold, parliamentarians have to debate and vote on those particular proposed amendments to the Finance Bill 2024. And that particular bill is not just a 2-page bill. It's around 137 pages.
And it takes time for it to be prepared, almost a year of the entire process to be completed.
Well, it is, and the devil is in the details, Victor. And some of the areas that have not been highlighted, I want to ask Kenyans to actually go through that particular document cover to cover. Because, for example, under the Miscellaneous Act, there's a clause that will give more powers to the Kenya Revenue Authority to approach any individual and ask them, or rather direct them, to link, their personal payment systems with ITIMs. It was not before. It was on voluntary basis, but now an individual can actually be directed to do so. Another one, under the Miscellaneous Act, tax measures, is that there's going to be a review of the Data Protection Act, saying that your personal data may be collected for if it is required for investigations or such. You see, now that's a breach of privacy, personal data. Another clause under the miscellaneous includes that now, currently, the affordable housing units, you cannot sell them once you purchase. At least you have to live there for, the clause says you have to occupy the unit for 7 years, at least 7 years before you can actually float it in the market. In the current proposals, it allows, for the sale of affordable housing units. What do you think that ripple effect is going to have? It means those with the financial muscle to buy into the affordable housing units can actually sell back to the market at market value houses that have been built by public coffers. So there's so much in that particular bill, and it is available to the public. If you did not participate, well, have a look at it, read, understand, so that when debate comes forth, then you can very well participate. There's so much, Victor, in that. And as I said, so much has been said on social media, and Abdi Aziz has the details in this following report. Aziz has to say about Kenyans' reactions on social media in regard to that particular finance. Well, as I said, Abdi Aziz had that particular report. Let's hear what Kenyans had to say on social media.
All eyes are on the Augusta House as the Finance Committee tabled its report on the Finance Bill 2024 on Tuesday. Kenyans are expressing their dissatisfaction with the various proposals in the bill. Pressure mounts on the legislators.
That as ODM party, all ODM MPs are under instruction in a written form to go to the National Assembly and reject the new finance bill.
So I want to assure everyone that if our finance committee does not come with a serious report, we will make sure that those sections which are going to affect the majority of Kenyans are going to be removed.
Mimi kama timu Wanyonyi nahakikisha ya kwamba ushuru yoyote ambayo italeta suffering to the people of Kenya, I will not vote for it.
Finance ya bunge wameweza kutoa vipengele vingi ambavyo kwamba watu na ni kuwapatia kongole. Ikiwa limeweza kufanyika ni kuwapatia kongole wale wabunge kwa kuwa kidete na wananchi.
While religious leaders are too expressing reservation on the bill, claiming majority of Kenyans are struggling.
You elect us in the name of leaders whom you are electing service leaders. When you elect them, they are very good. When they go there, they do what?
Serikali inapoangalia finance bill, wawe waangalifu wasiumize wananchi zaidi.
You can also be part of that conversation. Remember, we're going to be broadcasting live from the Parliament buildings this afternoon when we're expecting that particular report. Now, the judiciary has stopped forthwith the adjudication of cases in makeshift structures across the country. Through a communique from the desk of the Chief Justice, the judiciary says it will not expose judiciary personnel to security risks and will ensure security, especially where infrastructure is not adequate and that it is not compromised. Well, today, the 18th, is designated as a Judiciary Day of Mourning in remembrance and prayers for Principal Magistrate Monica Kivuti, who was shot during an active court sitting.
The judiciary continues to mourn Principal Magistrate of Makadara Law Courts Monica Kivuti, who was shot during an active court session and later succumbed to her injuries. The security breach has seen immediate measures taken to ensure safety and security of court premises for judges, judicial officers and all other court users. A communique from the desk of the Chief Justice states, and I quote, "Moving forward, judicial services will no longer be rendered in makeshift structures." End of quote. The statement further states that repeated requests made to the Executive and Parliament for sufficient resource allocation to upgrade court facilities to standards that guarantee efficient execution of judicial services are yet to materialize. President William Ruto, in his message of condolence, termed the fallen magistrate as a firm and hard-working judicial professional who served Kenyans with dedication. The head of state condemned any form of attack on judicial officers, saying it is criminal and an affront to the rule of law. The National Police Service has reassured the Chief Justice that the safety and security of judicial staff while discharging their official mandate remains a matter of priority to the service. The Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, reiterated that the swift action by police court orderlies contained the Makadara shooting incident, including the neutralization of the perpetrator. Monica Kivuti succumbed to gunshot wounds inflicted by a police officer on the 13th of June 2024 at the Makadara Law Courts.
Now, supporters of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's political stance now argue that the position of the Deputy President needs to be accorded respect. Equally, his opponents are accusing the Deputy President of political selfishness meant to alienate the Mount Kenya region.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's gloves of kind of politics seem to have attracted likes and dislikes from the ruling Kenya Kwanza party in equal measures. Manyara Member of Parliament Gitonga Mukonji, who is also the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association chairman, has called leaders to stop attacking the DP, adding the office should be respected irrespective of the position holder.
Appreciate to see even independent members of Parliament insulting the office of the Deputy President of Kenya, because that is setting a very bad precedence of ensuring no community will accept that position moving forward.
He, however, called for President William Ruto to initiate a dialogue that will end the name-calling.
Waweze kuketi chini, kutuliza boli, ili viti zile tutatumia kuweka watu wote kwa meza moja. Hizo viti zote zijulikane, they are favorable positions kwa serikali.
But speaking separately, Embu County Governor Cecily Mbarire accused Gachagua of playing politics of self-centric that might alienate the Mount Kenya region. Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria claims the DP is the cause of his predicament and misfortunes.
Wapi mazao ya ile kura tulipiga hapo nyuma kabla utuambie vile tutakupiga kura hapo mbele. Leo ndio hii mwananchi anataka. Anataka kujua kwa sababu aliamuka akapiga kura. Wapi ile ambayo wapi mazao ya hiyo kura yake?
UDA. Come. UDA. Come.
Elsewhere, a section of UDA delegates from Embakasi East have condemned a plan by the party officials to force a repeat of grassroots elections in the constituency.
Tulichaguana, tukachaguana kwa haki. Sasa tumeanza kusonga, tumeanza kuendesha gurudumu, tunataka kutengeneza hii chama ya William Samuel Ruto. Tumekaribishwa ndani, tuliomba na tumekaribishwa. Sasa tunaomba kitu moja. Wachana na delegates waliochaguliwa.
The delegates are now calling on the party leadership to shape up the stability of the UDA party.
That a particular aspect of campaigning, while we are still in an active term, and the stance when it comes to matters of the deputy president is likely to also feature as Kenya Kwanza, led by President William Ruto. The parliamentary group is going to be sitting today. So other than discussing the finance bill and what MPs allied to Kenya Kwanza have to do when it comes in for debate, politics is going to take center stage. Now, a family in Kishombe village, Akwabeit sub-location, Busia County, is in distress after one of their kin, a retired teacher, disappeared without a trace a week ago. According to the family, Daniel Karani Olket, who was mentally disturbed, left home Tuesday morning and has not been seen since. The family says Olket was last seen dressed in a brown jumper jacket with khaki shirt and green sandals. They're now appealing to the public to contact the family through mobile number 0710.
Kupotea kwake. Kwa sababu kutoka kwake tulidhani ni jambo la yeye, mawazo yake yalikuja yakatoka. Watu wakadhani ni kawaida, naweza tembea sokoni arudi kwa wake zake hawa. Kwa sababu yuko na wanawake wake watatu. Anaweza toka aende huko. Sasa tuliona ni kawaida, anaweza tembea arudi. But sasa imehuzunisha huko kwa jumla.
Nika report Malakisi police station na nikawacha picha yake pia hapo. Nilitangulia kwanza hii yetu iko karibu hapa Changara, hapa kambi. Wakaandikisha, wakanipa OP. Nikaenda wakani advise nipeleke picha kule chini Malakisi police station.
Mnamo tarehe on Tuesday at around 5, na leo hadi saizi hajaonekana mahali alipo. So ujumbe wangu kwa wananchi wote wapendwa, kama mtamuona mahali popote, ni mzee ambaye alikuwa amevaa jumper ya brown, shati ya light khaki hivi, longi ya grey na slippers za green. Kwa yoyote ule ambaye atamuona ako na grey hair, tafadhali unaweza piga simu 0710 11 04 64.
In case you have the information that may lead, to at least finding out where Daniel Karani Oleket is at, the mobile number you're supposed to give that information to is 0710 110 464. 0710 110 464, or report to the nearest police station in case you come across the missing Daniel Oleket. Now to matters education, where learners in insecure prone areas of Baringo continue to face a myriad of challenges that affect their learning outcomes. A section of leaders and education stakeholders in the region are calling on the national government to address, among others, food and provision of clean drinking water. This comes as the region was ravaged by bandit attacks that displaced communities and disrupted education in the area.
Following a 3-month closure of schools in Baringo North due to insecurity, schools reopened to a harsh reality. A visit to Ngaratuko Primary School under GSU escort revealed a vandalized borehole and damaged school tanks that could have otherwise been used to harvest rainwater.
Tunachimba mtaro chini, alafu tunachota maji. Hiyo maji hata sio ile maji colored na watoto wanakuja kunywa hivyo. With a population of 57 pupils, Ngaratuko Primary School now functions as a learning institution during the day and a residence at night.
We have been told that over the weekend, 40 boys left the school because of the challenges that they are going through.
Lack of reliable water source has forced the people to dig shallow wells along dry riverbeds under the watchful eyes of armed security personnel. Purity Rotich, a teacher at Ngaratuko, explains the challenges of accessing clean water since schools reopened.
Mbeleni tulikuwa tukipata maji baul kwa hapa. Sasa tuliporudi tukapika hiyo pokota ameharibu.
The only available water is unsafe, raising fears of an outbreak of waterborne disease.
Sasa tunachota maji bila chochote basi, bila dawa yoyote, tunakunywa tu hivyo. Tunaambia tu serikali asije atuangalie kwa mambo ya chakula na hata manyumba yetu imepomolewa yote.
Scholar Kangogo, a resident and a parent now living at a school, shares these concerns. Armed security officers remain vigilant while the pupils draw water. The use of an armored personnel carrier tell of the ongoing security threats. Just 7 kilometers away, Yatia Secondary School is on the verge of closure due to food shortage. With only a single 190 kilo bag of maize and 8 bags of 50 kilogram rice received from the Red Cross, the school has been forced to ration their supplies.
Kuna watoto walitoka juzi sababu ya kukosa chakula. Hao wanafunzi wanakula chakula kwa siku moja ni kunia 2. So hata ile fees yenye wazazi wanalipa haitaweza kununua hiyo chakula. Many children will go back home and then they'll go back to other activities which are not good. So I would encourage the government to provide for the food, to provide for those provisions.
According to school principal Francis Cheptile, this situation has led to over 40 students to leave the school at 3 a.m. and walk nearly 50 kilometers to Mariga despite the insecurity risks.
We still need to be supported so that we are able to retain these students in school. Yeah, because imagine if a school that is paying 40,000, let's say for example in other schools, they are paying 40,000 as fees, and then they are crying. What of the school that is not paying fees?
Kama hatutapata chakula, kama wanafunzi watapata chakula, watakuwa na shida na shule wanaweza funga shule.
They are now calling on the government and other stakeholders to step up efforts and support pupils and students in conflict-affected areas. Timothy.
Kalaza, also known as Visceral Leishmaniasis, has proven to be one of the most tropical diseases in arid parts of West Pokot, affecting hundreds of learners undetected. As such, several groups are now calling for increased advocacy and mobilization to ensure that education and health among the children is not compromised.
In the arid regions of West Pokot, hundreds of young learners are silently battling a formidable enemy, Kalaza, also known as visceral leishmaniasis. This neglected tropical disease is taking a heavy toll on the health and education of children, particularly in pastoralist communities. According to a report by the Kachaliba Kalaza Treatment and Research Center, 70% of its Kalaza patients are children under the age of 15.
Majority of our clients whom we see in this facility or in our facilities are children under 15 years. And this is impacting negatively in terms of their education because of the time these children are in the hospital. Averagely, every child will miss like a whole term.
The disease, characterized by prolonged fever, weight loss and enlarged spleen and liver, mimics malaria, leading to frequent misdiagnosis and delayed treatment.
People who live in the very areas, where they cannot go to the hospital to seek for the medication, they thought that this disease is malaria. By the time they are here, maybe the child is very sick and is anemic.
Parents like George Lokeris have experienced the harrowing journey of seeking treatment for their sick children. Lokeris shares that his son, Henry Kisang, had to drop out of school for nearly a year before being correctly diagnosed at the Kachiliba Center.
Alikuwa anaenda wiki moja, mwili yake nayo inakuwa joto, inakaa nyumbani tena. Tunaenda hospitali tunapatia mapanadol. Baada hapo hivi, baada wiki mbili hivi tena inaanza hivyo. Ikasumbua hivyo mpaka akakosa hata kufanya mtihani. Yeye hata kuelewa vitu kwa darasa haileti. Ndio sasa baadaye akapata improvement wakati alipata dawa.
Despite these challenges, organizations like the Drugs for Neglected Disease Initiative are working to improve treatment accessibility for rural and remote communities. However, the impact of Kalaza on West Pokot's children calls for increased advocacy and mobilization to secure their education and health.
Mtoto akigonjeka na umetibu malaria na kama hajapona, tafadhali harakisha kimbisha Kachaliba.
Advocacy is the way to go. The community need to get information of early seeking behavior of the services, of the health services at the nearby facility, so that they can be referred for Kalasa services. That's a testing.
Kalaza, caused by a protozoan parasite transmitted by sunflies, is fatal if left untreated in over 95% of its cases.
Well, that report from West Pokot takes us to a first break. We'll be right back. Welcome back now to the counties, where Makueni County Minister for Education Elizabeth Moli has underscored the county's commitment to advancing education in the region through the three pivotal strategies that include talent nurturing, infrastructure enhancement and human resource development. Moli highlighted the county's dedication to fostering creativity and excellence in education. This and more in our county's news roundup.
Speaking at the county's Early Childhood Development and Education Drama and Music Festival in Makueni County, the County Minister for Education Elizabeth Moli emphasized the importance of nurturing talent from a young age, citing its critical role in shaping a well-rounded education system.
And the government is very keen on ensuring that we build early childhood development education, focusing on three pillars. So with those three pillars, we are ensuring that the devolved function of education, which is ECDE and vocational training institutes, we are working on them and ensuring that we bring up our children for the future.
Elsewhere, the government has been urged to establish a comprehensive database for individuals with cleft lip and palate conditions in a bid to facilitate early identification and prompt corrective surgeries.
Our government to create a database so that we know exactly where these children are, and this can happen from hospitals, registering these children, so they can then be traced and they can be helped.
Meanwhile, as Kenyans observe Mental Illness Month, calls have intensified for the government to implement policies aimed at addressing systemic challenges and emerging trends in mental health.
Rehabilitations are a part of the solution, but they are not the ultimate solution, because we even need to do something about prevention before people become candidates for rehabilitation.
And Busia County Women Representative Catherine Omanyo has expressed concern over the government's 2-year delay in rolling out the SODO program, citing its impact on the education of the girl child. Finally, journalists and communication officers in Turkana County have undergone specialized training on reporting natural resource-related news in a bid to foster greater awareness and action among Turkana County residents.
Hii idara ya media wataanza kuhamasisha community umuhimu wa kuhifadhi mazingira, kuhifadhi misitu na kutunza misitu.
Polina.
Now let's speak sports, where a team of about 15 players will represent Kenya at the Africa Scrabble Championship to be held from the 23rd to the 27th of October in Sierra Leone. The team, selected after a series of qualifying tournaments in the country, will be led by Alan Oyende, who won the 3-day Scrabble Kenya Masters Series, which ended yesterday in Sagana.
After dominating and winning the 3-day Masters Series Championship, which ended today, Alan Oyende will lead his compatriots at the Africa Scrabble Championship, set for Sierra Leone in October.
This is the toughest tournament we've played in a very long time, in the last 1 year. Yeah. So we even have players from Uganda, Nigeria. There's one player from Uganda, another player from Nigeria, all here. So to come out on top in such a field, you must play exceedingly well. Because these are the best players in East Africa, yes.
The Kenyan team, that also include Bernard Koyoko, David Kimani and Tarus Kipruto, will head to Sierra Leone with the aim of beating defending champions Nigeria, who have won 13 of the last 14 editions of the continental tournament.
The African Championship has eluded us for a very long time. The Nigerians have dominated this, and we are hoping, just like in the All Africa Games, whereby the Kenyans were able to beat the Nigerians, we are going to turn the tables, and this time we might end up victorious.
After 27 rounds of the Masters Series in Sagana, Oyende topped the leaderboard ahead of Edgar Odonkara and Willie Mwangi, who finished the 3-day tournament in the silver and bronze medal positions respectively.
For the 3 days, it has been a real battle. The players have shown level of mastery that we are very positive that going forward the team is going to do well. When the game started, you may not even know who's going to win.
A total of 24 players competed in the event, with the only 2 ladies, Akinyi Wenwa and Cecilia Ruto, finishing in positions 21 and 24 respectively.
The best players are here owning their skills. Not many countries are so developed to have so many masters playing in a tournament as this. I could beat my chest that only Nigeria and Kenya are this strong to have a field of masters, set aside to play themselves.
The 2024 Africa Scrabble Championship will bring together more than 100 players from 14 countries.
Scrabble is a game of tact and strategy. All the best to the 15 players who are going to be representing Kenya in those particular championships slated for October. That puts a cap on Matters News. We invite your feedback. You can get us on KBC Channel 1 on X. As we now, I hand you over to Victor, who's going to be steering the next conversation, and you bet is going to be quite the affair, given what is happening in the political scene, as well as what we're expecting this afternoon in Parliament. I'm Regina Manyara. Have a pleasant viewing ahead.